You need to be determined when you do outbound and realize that it isn't just a lead problem, but it's a messaging, it's a conversion problem because you can get in front of the right people all day. If the offer isn't clear, if the follow up isn't sharp, nothing closes. And so you need to be determined, you need to be consistent, you need to not expect quick wins, and you need to just trust the process or believe in the system.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Exact Digital Podcast. Today I'm joined by Maria Shaw from Pursuitz, a company that's rethinking how brands do outbound outreach. If you've ever felt like cold outreach is just throwing spaghetti at the wall, you're not alone. But Maria and her team are all about doing it smarter with real strategy, real personalization, and results that actually move the needle. In this episode, we'll discuss what makes outbound work or not, how to scale it without sounding like a robot, and what brands should be thinking about if they want to grow through direct outreach in 2025 and beyond. So, hey, Maria, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Kenzie. It's lovely to be here today.
Absolutely. Well, for those who are just learning about Pursuits, can you give us the rundown? Who do you serve? What's your bread and butter?
Of course. We present ourselves as a high performance outbound partner for companies that are looking to scale revenue without hiring more salespeople. And so we serve either early stage startups or growth stage businesses, especially those that have high ticket offers who we're trying to help the most, who need a predictable way to bring in qualified sales conversations, or as I like to say, the ones that would like to have control over their pipeline, or to know where their next lead is going to come through, where the new sales close is going to come through. And our bread and butter is delivering sales ready leads through hyper personalized LinkedIn and email outreach. So we're combining volume with quality.
Amazing. Awesome. That's so needed in today's very saturated world.
I would say so. I would agree with you.
Yeah. So a lot of brands are hesitant to lean into outbound. What do you think is the biggest misconception about it?
I think that the biggest misconception about outbound and what I hear from a lot of people say to me is that they think that it's dead. And I think that bad outbound is dead and not outbound in general. From what I've seen, a lot of people either expect quick wins or they expect to see results in a month or two. So I think that's also a huge misconception. And they think that outbound is a magic switch, whereas that's not the truth. Outbound is a system, and so you build it and you lean on it, and it gives you control over your pipeline. It gives you predictability in your sales cycle and your sales processes when done right. And I think that we're going to dive a little bit deeper later on into what outbound done right means. But to answer your question, it's not dead, it's thriving when you do it right. Because I think like 80% of the market right now is doing outbound pretty badly, which if you do it right, it's going to put you on a pedestal, basically.
Absolutely. And anything in this industry, unfortunately, there's no secret sauce. So it's going to have to take consistency, time, and has to be done in a strategic way.
Yes, definitely.
So, what makes your approach to outbound different from traditional lead generation agencies or SDR outsourcing?
Hmm. I would say that we're really focused into diving into the core of every business. And so there's nothing really magical that I can answer right now that what makes us different. It's just that we're consistent, we're data driven, we're always on the newest trend, hopping on the newest train. And we don't just book meetings, but we generate a pipeline. And so traditional lead gen agencies I see focus on either surface level personalization, because personalization is the next big thing or the new trend in outbound. And then they hand off weak leads. We dig deep into the positioning, we craft original messages, we optimize every step of the conversation, and we move fast. And so our approach is founder led, feedback driven, most specifically ROI focused. And it's not about activity, but it's about results. And so I think what makes us the most different is that we're not really focused on the number of meetings that we're going to generate for our clients. It's the ROI that they're going to see in the end. Because, we do outbound to have sales conversations, to close those sales conversations, to lead to revenue. And so basically, that's our thought process behind it. We don't just generate sales conversations for the sake of it, but we make sure that they're meaningful, that they're with the right person, and that they're going to have revenue or that they're going to show revenue in the end so that our clients always have a turnover when they're working with us.
Absolutely. So instead of just saying, "Oh, hey, we got you these meetings. Okay, bye." It's more like, "All right, we've got you this. How we're going to move forward with this? What's the next steps?" and so on and so forth.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're there every step of the way. It's not just when somebody replies and then it's like, okay, you have this person in your inbox. It's now you can do this with this person and then you can do this. And then you have an opportunity for later on. And then this one wants you to speak with somebody else. And so it's basically like a right hand partner. And it's a quote that I'm taking from one of our clients that has said about us, that we're their right hand partner in outbound and the sales process in general.
That's amazing. So, how do you define performance in outbound? Like, what are the KPIs and what really matters?
Most importantly, it's revenue. And I think that should be the main metric for every company. But as a specific KPI, I think the most important one, and I think also the only one that will matter, is the reply rate. Because if you think you've done your targeting well and you think you've done your messaging well, and then nobody replies to it, that actually equals to it's not done good. And so when you don't have replies, it means that you're either targeting the wrong people or people don't get your message, which means that you need to change it immediately. And also, I just remembered the acceptance rate on LinkedIn is a very important metric if you're doing LinkedIn outbound, because the more accepted people that you have, the more open doors that you have, the more messages you can send, the more conversations you can start, more conversations you can bring back. And so, yeah, it just leads to the turnover that we're looking for in the end.
Amazing. So, can you walk us through what onboarding a client looks like at Pursuits from discovery to launch?
Course. So we're pretty hands-on with our clients as soon as they sign with us. And so we start with learning, I would say the top three things that we learn is what their company does, what their unique selling points are, and what pain points can they solve for their potential clients. And so we start working around that, trying to find the right targeting, trying to writing the right messages to send to the people. And we usually start with testing about 3 to 4 different verticals. So this is the A/B testing of the part that we do, just to find out what works best because we rely heavily on the data or the feedback that we get from the people that we're reaching out to then optimize in the end. So I would say onboarding is kind of laying out the foundation to how we're going to continue working with our clients within the next few months.
That's awesome. I mean, it's so important to have that foundation before you can just go in and say, "Oh, sure, look what we can do for you." Everybody listening, that is a red flag if an agency is like, "Hey, here's this perfect little solution. We're going to do it right here. You don't need to give us any information."
Yes.
That sounds really bad.
I mean, I hear from a lot of people that I talk with that that is actually you hit the nail on the head with this one. It's exactly what a lot of agencies do is they overpromise to then overdeliver, and then when you actually start working with them, you see that they're not really diligent, and so basically they're selling you a lie in some way.
Right. So if someone's coming, like if an agency is telling you, "Hey, I don't know about this. This probably won't work. Maybe we try this," or like, "Let me get all the gritty details." Okay, well, it's not going to be perfect. We can grow from this. That's how you know an agency truly has your best interest at heart because they're
Exactly.
not promising you all of these things, but they know that they can potentially get you that if you put the right steps in place.
Exactly, yeah. And a lot of people have been burned by the former ones that we just discussed. And so when they start working with us and when they kind of experience the approach that we have, it's like a fresh take from what I've seen. Not bragging, from what I've seen.
Absolutely. No, I can vouch for that.
Thank you.
So, what outbound tactics are working best right now, and which ones are losing their edge?
So last year began the trend of personalized outreach. And so this is what is also working and what is also not working. We're losing its edge right now. because a lot of people understood personalization, in my opinion, wrong. And so it's either borderline creepy or starting to get a little bit too personal or kind of straying away from the main point that you're trying to make. And I think that that is what is losing its edge right now, along with generic templates and just generic outreach. And so I think right now, the ones that are going to be doing either high intent type of outreach or trigger based outreach or basically anything that is going to be relevant to the prospect and also without not sounding too aggressive, gonna add that to it, is what's probably not probably but what is specifically working right now from what we've seen.
Right. So a blend of not generic, but not too creepy and personalized. So like that happy medium of like, we know who you are, but we're not going to be really aggressive towards the fact that we know what you're doing.
Yes, to summarize, yes, that was the point that I was trying to make.
Perfect. So with so much automation and noise in the market, how do you balance personalization at this scale?
It really starts with the system that we're trying to, I would say, build for our clients because we build personalization around personas and not just individuals. So we can scale the relevance without using the human touch. Then we also blend in social cues, company insights, custom angles, geographical data, common sense as well. And so the goal is to make every prospect feel like, oh, it's actually written for me. Doesn't even matter that it sounds like it's written by an AI because it's a we're not going to lie to each other anymore. Everybody uses AI right now. You use AI to write your emails, you use your AI to reply to somebody, just because you can lean back on it and not really think. So it doesn't really matter if it's going to have a word that sounds AI, but it needs to sound relevant to the person. And if they need the solution, the way that you've presented it to them is going to make them want to have a conversation with you rather than just treating them like one of the rest.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's
Thank you.
awesome. Yeah. So, can you share a success story that really shows what your team is capable of?
So there isn't really a specific magical case story because we haven't really had a client yet that sells time travel. So what I'm gonna say is that because every business model is different. And so, you can't really expect to have a magic switch happen. But I'm going to say that we have never had a client so far that hasn't had that turnover that I was telling you about. Because if that's the main goal, you're working towards it. And I'm going to use the manifesting word because you're also manifesting the revenue or the turnover or the ROI in the end. And so I would say that's our biggest success story is that our clients have stick with us, that they're happy with us, that they continue working with us, and that they've had that turnover in the end where, that they've had that moment where they say, okay, this is actually worth it. They know what they're doing. They've built us a system. This is really good.
That's really huge for business owners, especially small business owners, because a lot of times when they get results from an agency, they get all these impressions and vanity numbers and things that they don't necessarily understand. So by showing them that turnover and giving them the ability to see their ROI and what they've actually succeeded in, that's a huge success.
Yeah. And especially if you have somebody that you need to report back to, I'm talking specifically by VC backed companies. It's also really, really, really beneficial when have that success behind you. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
this is worth our money.
Absolutely. That's why, for us specifically, getting in those reports monthly is something surprisingly other agencies don't do all the time. And there's these businesses are being audited. They have those investors that need to see where that money's going and how it's being
Yep,
spent and the success that it's coming from.
exactly. Yeah.
So, what has been one of the biggest learning curves for you in the building of Pursuits?
I can take one out. It's a lot of things. What I would say is that you need to be determined when you do outbound and realize that it isn't just a lead problem, but it's a messaging, it's a conversion problem because you can get in front of the right people all day. If the offer isn't clear, if the follow up isn't sharp, nothing closes. And so you need to be determined, you need to be consistent, you need to not expect quick wins and you need to just trust the process or believe in the system. And so we had to become experts not just in outreach, but in sales thinking. So it kind of changed my whole thought process around sales because I always thought sales are these people that can sell you the pen. It's not really just to sell you the pen, it's to make you realize that you really need the pen. You don't really might not need it right now, you might need it later. Not trying to be too philosophical right now, but it is just, to understand that it's not just quick wins, but it's the consistency and the determination that gets you there in the end.
Oh, absolutely. That's perfect because a lot of times people think that knowledge and power is what's going to get you success, which it can, but most of the time it's persistency and consistency.
Yes, definitely.
You might not even be the person that got the best grades in your high school or college, but if you're consistent and persistent, like you're going to be successful. Look at me being philosophical.
Yeah, definitely.
So, if you could give one piece of advice to someone trying to build their outbound pipeline today, what would it be?
To trust the process, to learn what you do, to learn what your clients need, and to build around it. And don't wait on the perfect outbound system that you're going to build. Just start, because you're always going to learn as you go. Yeah, just keep building on it and keep improving your whole outbound system and look back at what you've done before, look back at what follow the trends. And I also want to share while we're here today that we have a book coming out that's going to be about the whole outbound system that nobody else shares. So it could give you like a complete overview of what you're supposed to do and what you aren't supposed to do. Um, just to give you a clear picture of how outbound is supposed to look like in 2025.
That's amazing. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and you're right on the head with that about, just starting. Like if you are thinking about starting or thinking about doing something, most of the time you're just going to keep saying, "Oh, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week," because build up this anxiety and you think that it has to be perfect, but the only way to do something is to start it.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't just wait. Be brave.
Be brave. Be
This is like a Disney princess advice that I'm gonna give to the viewers. Be brave. And then if you want Pursuit's advice, just, listen to the whole paragraph that I just said.
Love that. Maria, this was so good. Thanks for breaking down what makes smart outbound actually work and sharing your perspective on what founders really need to know. So, if you want to learn more or get in touch with Maria, head on over to pursuits.io, and it's pursuits with a Z, or connect with Maria on LinkedIn. Thanks again for joining us. We're so glad you were here.
Thank you, everyone.